but next we will talk to my namesake, a theistic Jimmy, who believes there is a prophecy about the line. Is that this channel, the line in the Bible? And does it have to do with the universal beloved nature of the new logo? I'm surprised it has 100% approval rating so far. Jimmy, how are you?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm okay.
Hello?
Jimmy, I feel like you've called before. I think I recognize your voice. Have you called before?
Yes, I call. I call many times. I'm just curious about. I like your show, but I'm just
I
like
like your accent.
there's some things. Hello? Hello?
Hi, I just said I like your. You said you like the show, and I said I like your accent.
Yes, yes. Thank you. I'm from Nigeria. I'm an African. I'm from Nigeria, so I have a strong accent.
Oh, I was hearing more the New York influence, though. You've definitely
Yeah,
picked up the that New York twang. No one
yeah. I
ever
live
calls
in
it
New
that.
York. I
Yeah,
live here. Yeah,
I
there's
can
a
tell.
Bible verse. I like. You guys make a lot of sense with your arguments, but there's a Bible verse that like talks about what's happening in the end times, about the ongoing
Hmm.
apostasy, about people not taking the people fall away from the Bible, people like departing from Christianity. There's a Bible verse that talks about it in particular.
What's the
Do you
verse?
like to do you like First Timothy chapter 4 verse 1. First Timothy chapter 4 verse 1.
And do you have a preference in the Bible version? Is New Independent Version, International Version good, or what do you like?
At King James, I prefer King James.
All right. That's the one I grew up with, kind of. I grew up with like the King James Plus version, little JST on top. All right, I'll read it out loud for you. The Spirit clearly says that in later times, some will abandon the faith and follow deceiving spirits and things taught by demons. Go ahead. So, are we the demons? Is that why you said that this is the line?
Yeah, because you're telling people that there's no God, that you're telling people that God doesn't exist and all that. So you're kind of
Mhm.
fulfilling the Bible prophecy in a way. They say that
Sure,
many
sure.
people they depart from the faith. So you guys are kind of
Jimmy, let me
fulfilling the
ask you this.
prophecy. So
Jimmy, let me ask you this. Let's say hypothetically, I'm not asking you to admit we're right. But you know what a hypothetical is, yeah?
sure, I do, yes.
All right. Hypothetically, let's say we're correct about the Bible, and the Bible is actually a religious book that is meant to sort of control people and has nefarious, and the use of the book is meant to be nefarious. Let's say just hypothetically we're right. If you were writing such a book, wouldn't you include in it verses that sort of try to make people wary of anyone who opposes the books? Wouldn't you include verses like, anybody who's telling you this isn't true is a demon? Wouldn't you include verses like, the wise people who have all the facts and the science, they're actually foolish. The wise people are fools. Wouldn't you, just in the hypothetical, wouldn't you, in writing a nefarious religious book, try to prepare people for opposition and denigrate that opposition in advance, so that you can maintain your control over them?
Well, that's a very, very loaded question. That's a very loaded question. That's
It's
like,
not. It's actually really
yeah,
simple. It, do
yeah,
you
but it's
okay?
like,
I'll make it easier then. I'll make it easier then. You don't have to talk
okay,
about you.
please do,
Hypothetically, here's
please
way
do.
easier. Hypothetically, can you see that there would be a value in that? So, for example, verses in the Quran. You don't believe in the Quran, do you, Jimmy?
No, I'm not a Muslim. I don't believe in the Quran. Yeah, I'm not
Right.
Muslim.
So you wouldn't think verses in the Quran about infidels and the ways in which infidels are evil and will try to drag you down. Infidels, referring to also Christians, and that essentially Christians are going to try to drag you to hell. You would see that functionally, if Christianity's right and Muslims are wrong, you would include verses like that in the Quran to try and insulate people from Christianity, that you can recognize that that would be a very useful thing to do, right?
Yeah, but I'm not Muslim, so I don't know about the
No,
Quran.
no, no,
So
Jimmy,
I
Jimmy,
just,
great, great,
Uh,
great, 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 great.
uh,
You don't have to be a
we-
Muslim. You just
we're
have to
just pointing
acknowledge
out
it.
that, yeah, just pointing out that
If a book
those verses like that exist in the Quran. Verses that
and
say there will be
in the Book of
people.
Mormon,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, you're not
yeah.
a Mormon either, are you, Jimmy? And the Book of Mormon has
I'm not
all
a mom. I'm a
kinds of
Christian.
verses. Yeah,
I
yeah,
know,
yeah.
we
Yeah,
The
know.
but
more well,
I know, we know.
Jimmy,
Jimmy,
we're telling
Jimmy,
you
can
that.
I read? can I read you a verse? Is that okay? Can I read you a verse?
Oh, a verse
So
from
we
where?
read
The Bible?
Well, it's a verse from a book that prophecies that I subscribe to. This is from the Book of Austin, and it's the chapter 1, verse 1. And this is a prophecy that I actually wrote down, and it says, Jimmy from Nigeria, who lives in New York, is still going to believe in his version of the biblical God by the end of this call, no matter what we say, even though we're really cool and smart and right about things. So that's a prophecy I just made. I hope you don't fulfill that prophecy there, Jim. Do you think you're going to fulfill the
Are you being
prophecy by the end of
serious?
this call? I'm
Is
just
that
saying,
a book?
hey, I'm just saying that's what it says in the
Uh,
book. That's what it says in the book, dude. And that's the
I know,
prophecy. And
but
I'm
we
just
do
saying.
respect. We do respect. So we do respect. The Bible is there's no book called Book of Austin. There's a book. There's a
No,
Bible
I
that
know.
people take it
I know.
very serious.
I wrote the book of Austin, and I take my book very seriously. And that's a prophecy that I wrote. And I'm just saying, like, if you fulfill the prophecy, that means I'm a prophet, kind of, doesn't it? Because I wrote down that you're going to believe in your version of God no matter what we say, even though we're really cool and right. You're going to do that, right? So therefore, you're fulfilling the prophecy from the book of Austin, right?
Full respect. I'm trying to understand you. Like you said, the Bible is a real book. People believe in the Bible. There's billions of Christians worldwide that believe
Hey,
in the Bible.
my book's real. I wrote it. It exists. It's on my computer right now. Okay, it's short. It's just that one verse, but it's real. It's a book
But
that I wrote.
Jimmy,
Can I?
I also already
Yeah.
gave
Can
you
I say?
Jimmy. I already
So,
Jimmy. No,
so
no, hang on, Jimmy. Hang on, Jimmy. I already gave you the
sure.
examples of other books, and I've already given you, you've already acknowledged that. Yeah, sure. I see the utility. It would be useful, and the whole point of that exercise, Jimmy, is to say just because your book says that, even if you can say that that has happened, that there are people who are trying to get other people to abandon their faith, that doesn't actually mean that the book is true. It means that the writers of the book, either it is true, look, I'm not saying it means it's not true. Maybe it is true and they're actually prophesying that. Or it could be one of the alternative explanations could be that the authors anticipated pushback, perhaps based on previous pushback, and wrote down things to prepare that insulation from other people. All I'm pointing out to you, Timothy, is what you call a fulfilled prophecy, I call an obvious attempt to prepare people to hear opposition that will be very compelling and go, well, I mean, obviously I don't have all the facts, but this Bible says I'm right anyway.
And that's what I'm saying with the thing that I wrote down is it's like I can make a prediction about how this interaction's going to go. It doesn't mean that I'm a prophet. It doesn't mean that I can make a prediction and say by the end of this call you're not going to change your mind. That's just most likely how it's going to go based on my past experience doing this show. And that doesn't mean that I'm speaking to God or God is speaking through me. It's just that like I can make that I can write that down and be accurate, but it doesn't mean that you're actually fulfilling some kind of ancient divine prophecy. Does that make sense?
Okay, let me understand you. Let me try to understand what you're saying. That means you're saying that. So you're saying that what the Bible says in Timothy verse 1 is not a prophecy. That is just like prophecy predicts the future, right? Right? Correct? Right?
Yep.
I mean
Hello?
that's what it intends to do. I don't there's clearly, I don't know if it's a delay or what, but don't yell hello every time we haven't answered within 2 seconds of you finishing. It's not even 2 seconds. You're saying it too fast, bud.
Okay.
Hello?
I'm just trying to understand what you're talking about. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I like this conversation. I'm just trying to understand you. What you're saying.
Here's the
So
better
what you're
part.
saying, Jimmy?
Here's the better response to Jimmy. This is so confusing. I have two Jimmys here, especially looking at the live chat. It's fucking wrecking my mind. But Jimmy, all religious books claim to have prophecies. All religious people claim to have had prophecies in their religious books fulfilled and claims evidence that other ones are going to be fulfilled. So either all the religions are right at the same time despite being in conflict, in other words, an impossibility is true, or the method by which you prophesy is vague enough or things that are expected enough that it's not that impressive. Like when people go, what about when it says in the last day there will be wars and rumors of wars? You mean that prophecy of things that have always been the case since written civilization has existed, and it's before and then again after the world continued to operate the way it roughly did then? And you're saying here this verse is going to be, let's say that the narrative is correct and this is actually written during Jesus's time. This verse would be people talking about other people abandoning the faith, which would have been happening then also. And so they're
Okay, I
writing
see your
about what's
point. I see
happening
your point.
then. And so, of course, it's going to happen again in the future.
Okay, now I understand you. Now I understand. So what you're saying that this didn't happen then, so they're just writing it down in order to anticipate that it will happen in the future. Is that what I'm saying? Is that correct, sir?
Yes, and
Yes,
prophecies
and
in general
also,
operate on that.
well, and also that from the time this was written, whether that was 2,000 years ago or whether that was 1,500 years ago, we don't know which translation of the Bible this verse initially emerged in. But from the point that this verse was originally written, people have been doing what Jimmy and I are doing today. So it says, in the later days, there will be demons who are leading people astray. But from the point that these words were originally written, there were people doing what we're doing. There were people saying that book's not true. That book's not an accurate record of the mind of God or his will. And so it kind of begs the question, like, when are the later days? Like, when is, because if the prophecy was already being fulfilled when it was written, and it continued to be fulfilled every day since, it's not really a prophecy, right? It's just someone making an observation about the fact that, like, there are people in the world who work hard to discredit our book. So we're going to write a verse that says
I'm
that.
getting weird data. Everything's breaking out. I'm going to refresh.
Wow, now I see what you're talking about. That means they wrote this verse in anticipation that there'll be people like you guys telling people that God is not real and stuff like that. Is that what you're saying in essence?
Jimmy, do you
I
not
mean,
understand that? What period of time do you think there wasn't challenges to Christianity or all religions somewhere?
Yeah, like you said, there have always been challenges to religion. Yeah, people have always challenged Christianity, but like the intensity that's happening at this stage right now is like it's like the intensity with the technology going on, and I see a lot of people in YouTube. They're not saying they don't believe in God no more. They abandon their faith, and you guys are making a lot of sense. But I'm just scared that what if this Bible is like, how come the Bible is so ahead of you guys then? If
It isn't.
It's not.
It's not ahead
It
of.
isn't.
It's not ahead of you.
No.
Timothy, Jimmy. I was reading Timothy the book. Jimmy, the thing that you're describing is ahead of me again is these vague passages. If prophecies in the Bible worked, we probably wouldn't even call them prophecies, because you notice we don't call things prophecies that are real life predictions that people are making using like the scientific method. Nobody's calling it a prophecy that in 2032 we're going to have a close call with an asteroid. Like we have the data to back it up. That asteroid is showing up, or the fact that we know when every major solar eclipse for the next however many thousands of years is going to happen. No one called it a prophecy when scientists correctly. I watched the solar eclipse, the full solar eclipse from my house. I guess this was last year. I think it was last year. I watched from my backyard. It was amazing. And you know what? I didn't go, oh my God, the prophecy is fulfilled. It's that's what a prediction looks like where it's good. And they didn't go, no scientist was out there talking about the next time the solar eclipse will happen is when flowers and their bees reject each. They weren't using like poetry and these vague terms and these general truisms. There will be cars on the street when the next things that were already happening and calling that a prediction. They're just going, this event's going to happen on this day. It's going to have roughly, this amount of coverage in this part of the country. That's what predictive power looks like, and it's based in data. But obscure poetry and saying things that are happening now will happen in the future is what prophecies look like.
Well, and that's like,
Jimmy, but please, I want to understand this. But you say you guys believe in so much in scientific methods. I had this discussion with one of your hosts. But science changes a lot. They change their mind all the time, so they're not consistent.
Excuse me. Scientists are people. Science doesn't have a mind to change, and the scientific method includes a refinement process by which we gain a better understanding. So when you want to say science changes its mind, no, it doesn't. Whatever the facts of the universe are the facts. We imperfectly uncover those facts and we start to figure out what those are. And at some points, it goes, you know what fits the narrative the best right now of why this over here is happening is this, this, and this. And then we find out through these methods of things like peer review and repeated experiments that parts of it were wrong and we refine it. So this whole like science changes their mind about it. Almost every time you can find a major thing, a major change, it wasn't like a doctor, it was more like a chiropractor said something and then science came along and debunked it or refined it. Evolution as the basis of that theory has remained consistent for the last however long it's been now, but the elements of evolution, the actual mechanisms by which it works, the uncovering of genetics and stuff, those things have been added and refined, and that refinement process makes it better and better. But you can always say that even during those flawed parts, we were closer to reality than before, our understanding of
Yes.
reality, and certainly
Thank you
closer
very much.
than from young Earth
Thank you very
creations.
much, Jimmy. But Jimmy, there's one last question I ask you, and I like this conversation. There's one last question. Is there one thing that you're for sure that this is not that this is very, very certain that the Bible got wrong? That is not that is scientifically proven, that is factual. That the Bible got it wrong. That you can say that this is what the Bible says and is wrong.
Sure.
Is there one thing you know about? Okay, name one thing.
Many. The age of the earth, but it'll all depend on whether you even agree that the age of the earth is established. But if you do the math and you add up the things in the Bible does pretty clearly establish actually a couple of things. And by the way, biblical scholars, including amongst Christians, agree that the Bible suggests that the earth is somewhere between 6,000 and 10,000 years old, and that Noah's flood, in fact, happened at some point in that period after. As well as there's actually, I mean, there's a bunch. The Bible absolutely does describe the earth as a flat disc with a dome and a firmament and those things. So if you don't do mental gymnastics and you stick to the scholarship interpretation of what the authors most likely meant in those periods of time and not make up your special versions or do the dishonest apologetics, it is very clear that the Bible speaks to scientific subjects and gets those subjects terribly wrong.
Okay, so that means you're sure about this thing. Okay, if you're sure about it, it's not like this. If you're so far, you guys seem so sure that there's no God, and you guys are very certain about it. It's just like I just called because I just wanted to see what you guys think about this verse, and you guys gave me you said that this thing is like okay. So this
Jimmy, can I ask
change
you?
your mind at all? Sure.
Can I ask you one last question before the call ends?
Yeah, no problem. Go ahead.
Did we change your mind? Do you not believe in God anymore? Did we fix it? Do we get you?
I would say to be honest, I would say that you guys are making sense, but I'm just too scared that there might be a hell, that there might be I'm leaning towards your side. I'm leaning towards your direction, but I'm just a little bit scared that there still might be a hell and stuff like that. So,
Fair enough, but you know what? I'm just gonna say it. The Book of Austin
Prophecy
predicted
fulfilled.
this. I'm just gonna say it. Prophecy fulfilled. Book of Austin
with the Book of Austin, are you serious with that? Or are you just making that one up? That Book of Austin? Come on, man.
I'm Austin. No, Jimmy, what I was telling you with that example, I'm Austin, and I wrote that down. What I was trying to show you is that I can write down a prediction of something, especially if it's a thing that I regularly observe in my day-to-day life. Like I regularly have conversations with people just like you, where they ask me questions about the Bible and about their beliefs, and I attempt to answer them, and their minds don't get changed at the end of the conversation. So I just wrote down a prediction based off of something that I regularly observe. And all I'm saying is, like, whoever wrote that verse, 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 1, was doing the same thing. They were going, so we're going to write this book and there are going to be people who are going to try to discredit it. So I will just write that down as a prophecy so that when they do it, those people will go, whoa, the book said that they would do this. So I'm just saying, like, it's not that impressive because I just did it. Because I just did it to you. So it's not that impressive,
all
right?
books are made up. Yeah.
It's not that impressive, right? Like,
wow. But how they know to do that back then? But how they know to do that back then? What would be the motive to do that back then?
Because people were doing it back then.
Right. It wasn't.
People were doing
the motive, though?
It wasn't new.
What would be the motive? So what? But what would be the motive? What's the agenda behind them doing that?
People have always been fighting with each other over ideological differences, over faith differences, and over every time people have told a different story about like where rain comes from or what lightning is or what a tornado is, people have had arguments over it and like killed each other over it. This has been going on as long as like written history has been going on.
But Jimmy, let's say we don't know the motivation. You know that some people have that motivation because religions exist which you don't believe in. So presumably, if your religion is wrong, it will be a similar motivation to the other wrong religion people. I do have one last question for you that's a completely different topic. Sure. What do you think of the new logo? It's
I've not seen it. I've not seen the new logo, so I can't give an opinion on it. I've not seen it.
Well, it's on the screen, but yeah, go check it out later and just leave a comment with what you think about the new logo. So far, it has 100% approval rating. I hope you don't. I hope you don't break the streak.
All right. Take care. Enjoy your show. Have a great one.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Have a great day, Jimmy. Thanks for calling.
You too. All right. No problem. Bye.
I think I'm a prophet, dude.
I thought I was going to get you to chuckle while you were drinking water, but I think you saw it coming. I was trying to get you a little gurgle.
I don't know. Like, I think it's kind of crazy that I called that. I think it's crazy.
It's pretty great.
Like, how did I do that? That's crazy. How was I so ahead?
As 8 years into it now, I'm going to say there's probably about 15 different times where I've realized as an atheist YouTuber, it would only take a couple more steps for me to start a cult. And I always choose not to. And you might be seeing one of your own first steps right now. It's
everyone watching's like, wait a minute. That's crazy. He wrote it down and then it happened. Wait a minute. God.
Book of Austin. Book of Austin tells you what will be.
I just think it's so funny to like read a random verse like that and be like, see? Like it's so vague too. It's just like anyone who's doing anything to discredit this book is a demon. And if you do it, so anything you say against the book, it's like, see, the book said you would say that. It's like, yeah,
like, you actually took a greater chance though. Like yours had some deductive reasoning in it. What would happen? You're like, based on right now, you believe it, but like technically there was a chance we would have talked him out of it. You at least took a shot. You took a chance.
Yeah.
These books don't take those chances. Like yours is actually more impressive than the average Christian prophecy.
He could have proved me wrong. Like he could have totally proved my, but then it would have been this whole like paradox of like, oh no, now I'm not a prophet. And then like, what does that mean? And I prefer to be a prophet. So
yeah. It wasn't like it wasn't an unimpressive prophecy. Like Jimmy will ask you about the logo at the end of the call. That would have been an unimpressive one. Hey, do you think this clip just fell out of a coconut tree? No, it did. Okay, now technically I did build the channel into a coconut tree and it did fall out. And also that our internet router is up there. Actually, in a lot of ways, this production fell out of a coconut tree, but we could only afford that because people like you supported us for $5 a month over where is that, Eric?
Patreon.com/calltheline. And
that's right.
Jimmy will,
you got it.
Be grateful. Yeah.
We have an exclusive patron podcast over there. Check it out. Thumbs up with it, Eric. We talked about this in the meeting. We have to both.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Okay, there we go.